Good morning, Commanders. How are we doing today? I hope you're all doing very well, that you survived incursions all right. I'd love to hear from you if you did well or not. Getting ready to head into another arc, but I've been thinking about this, doing the video for a while. Wanted to do it justice. I've been thinking about and talking with a few players and even post on Discord today. So those people that gave me some feedback, your thoughts, I appreciate it. Um, but it's kind of been in my mind lately that how do I put this? The game is overwhelming sometimes, isn't it? Like, we just get so much to do thrown at us for our dailies, and all these loops that they keep adding that it's kind of tough to find balance. Um, when you have to make some decisions. And I know that I got to this point, when I was in my last alliance. I don't know if it was because there were so many big spenders in the alliance and I just felt like I had to keep up or what, but I kind of got burnt out trying to keep up on maxing all the loops and finding balance there. And I quit the game for a day because I get so frustrated, but I ended up coming back and a friend of mine said, "Hey, why don't you just try a smaller alliance?" And I did, and it's kind of worked out for me. Do I think about my previous alliance and all my friends there? Yes, I absolutely do. Do miss them, but happy where I'm at now. And I think I found some ways where I found balance. And everyone's going to be different, I suppose. But I wanted to share some tips with you of things that I do to kind of help find some balance for me. I think a couple of them are going to be controversial for those who want to max every refine every day, all the time. And good on you if you can. I think that's great. There'll be a couple things I'll suggest that you may agree with or disagree with. And when the video's done, I hopefully some of these tips I'll share with you will be helpful. But if you have any tips yourself that you want to share with me or the community, feel free to drop them in the comments below. Love to hear from you. So we'll hop right into it. And just before I do, for those of you who are new or who haven't subscribed yet, please feel free to hit that subscribe button. It really helps grow the channel. Hit that thumbs up and click on the bell notifications so that you are kept aware of future content. So, one last reminder, I always put my Discord in the description below. We do a monthly giveaway, and we'll have to see how well the channel grows. But I did promise, and I'm going to keep to this, that instead of doing one, and this comes on my own pocket, by the way. Scopay doesn't give me any free battle passes, so just a kind of a thank you to the community. But as I promised in previous videos, if we cross the 1,000 subscriber, which we have, then I will do 2 Battle Pass giveaways. So join the Discord so you can be kept in the loop on that. I'm thinking I might want to start doing more live streams. It's been a struggle with my time schedule. I want to get back to that, and I won't do it this time, but keep watching Discord. I may start doing live streams and do the giveaways. I have to kind of figure out the best way to do that and how that's done. So won't do that this time, but that's where we do our giveaways. It's in the giveaway channel on my Discord. So please join that, and you can be in the running for that. So let's see here. So let's start with my tip number 1. Tip number 1 has to do with the X board. We know that many months ago that Scopely added the X board, which essentially knocks out a whole slew of your dailies, from your faction dailies to your swarm dailies, and so that really is a huge time saver. But one thing I have started doing, and I'm going to just mention this because I don't see a lot of people, maybe more people are doing this than I realize. But when I hop into the game here, and that's where my base is, if you ever want to come raid me, I'm right there. Server 21, don't you dare. And I'm going to the 60 level system. I have a tier 4 Vorcha. So because of the whole, I also have a Corvus, just kind of, maybe I was wasteful on that, but it's been good. It's helped me on my solo. So anyways, the Vorcha has more holes, so that's what I take there. But I'm going here to the 60 level system. I can get more parts per hit. And so it will depend upon where you're at. If you're in the G3, G4, range, you're going to have to play with what system works best for you. But typically, what I see people use, a great crew, is they'll take a Strange New Worlds officer as their captain, and then they'll have Tal and Giorgio, and they'll go and hit these hostiles because you need to take out their hull. They have a lot of hull. You need to take them out quickly. But this is the crew that I've been using. And so we've got 5 of 11. I've got Giorgio and Tal just replacing, so I still get the mitigation from 5 of 11, but I get the increased loot drops. And then I have Hugh below decks. And then it's going to depend upon the level of your officers, I'm sure, and not everyone has these unlocked. I invested pretty heavily with my into store currency on Pick Bev. What have I got her at tier 4, so coming along. And then my doctor is tier 3. That Valentine's event helped me, I think, get a level on him. I really focused heavily on him because of the loot drops. So 30% it looks like. But so I crew up with those. And what I end up doing is I just go and I hit whatever. I hit interceptors, battleships, explorers. I really don't care against that much going against the triangle. Last night when I hit the hostiles there, I was able to get about 150,000 parts. I think about 70,000 was interceptor parts. I kind of focus on hitting those when I can because I'm planning on building the Sanctus when I can get my operations up enough. That darn 5-star rare ore is killing me. I think it's my big bottleneck. So anyways, I'll go and I'll hit there. Like I said, when you're using the Strange New Worlds team, for example, if I put the Strange New Worlds officer in here, I'd have to hit explorers because that's the only way you get mitigation because they're ship specific, both the ship you're on and the ship you're attacking. But with this, I can hit anything. And so what it does is it makes it so I don't really have to farm the 5-star battleship parts because every time I do my dailies, I just kind of knock that out at the same time. So I'm frequently able to double or triple pull without any extra effort, really. And so if you're not doing that, consider, maybe you are doing that, but I see a lot of people aren't. So that is a tip that you can use 5 of 11 instead and still get a decent return. Now one thing I will do is at the same time, because I don't always have a Solar Armada to run each day, but I'll take my Titan out as well. And so I'll buff with my Titan, and it makes it so I can last a little bit longer doing the extra damage and whatnot. So I can last a little bit longer taking out those hostiles, and at the same time I'm getting the Titan. And this obviously isn't the Titan, but I'm just pointing there because that's where I have an open slot. So that's great. Second tip, you have to make sure that your ships are up to par. This is going to include your miners, your warships, your specialty ships are all kept up appropriately leveled. And what happens is as you go up in levels, sometimes your requirements, things you need to do will go up as well. I found this out with the Voyager. I had gone up an operations level and I hadn't kept up my level of my Voyager. And so when those Voyager events came around, it took me like 20, 30 minutes to knock out those events. But once I was able to get my Voyager leveled up appropriately, I could then get the warp range I needed to get out to those systems, where my Voyager is easily able to take on the hostiles. And it's just one example. But you need to make sure you have the warp range and the capabilities to be able to last long enough and not have to do multiple trips, for example. So keeping up on your ships so they have the capabilities you need to be able to get your miners to far enough in deep space to do the mining you need to do, or your warships be able to have the warp range to get out to the systems they need to so you can do your dailies efficiently so it's not going to take you 2 or more trips, is really a huge time saver. I'm kind of stuck at a spot now, for example, that I'm kind of debating, and I'm trying to put it off, but my Vorcha is tier 4. I could really use tearing it up as far as having a stronger ship. So it's a judgment call, right? But I have to decide, do I spend resources on that because it will halt my progress if I want to go up to the next operations level. I need to save the ore for the operations building, which I've already planned out. But, that's kind of a judgment call because once I can get to the next operations level, I can get the Sanctus, so the G5 rare ship, for those who don't know. you know, and then it should kind of be just fine because I won't have to waste resources dumping into these ships. So it's kind of a judgment call, but if you find yourself struggling, you may need to pause and just say, okay, I don't have the time to keep up on these events because I can't do the events because my ships aren't strong enough. Pause and work on your ships. Maybe an option that you'll have to consider. Something else that I do, I've made a video about this, but I'll mention it as a tip here because I think it's a fantastic tip in the Bajoran faction. And I think it's well worth the credits to do this. But as you are going up, and for those who aren't quite able to do these because you're not high enough rep level, something to keep in mind. And for those who aren't doing this, I suggest that if your server has the option, to definitely do it. In my server, and I think a couple people I've talked to, they're the same, where mining in token systems is respected as far as if you're mining, you're not zero, you know, go for it. People generally won't hit you. Some servers aren't like that, so if this isn't you, then it doesn't apply. But for me, and for a number of other people I've talked to, this works really well. Now, you have to spend credits to get the G4 token and the G5 token, and you have to have the appropriate level to get the G5. But these are fantastic. If we're looking here in the purple Bajoran space, for those who are new and don't know, that's kind of just west of where Federation space is here, okay? Anyways, you need to have a G4 miner typically. I'm trying to remember the warp range if you can get a G3 miner there. I can't remember. I have to look that up. If so, you'd have to have it pretty well leveled and maybe even throw some warp officers on there. But we've got gas, we've got ore, and Galleon has crystal. And then over here, I have 3 miners sitting in G5. It happens to be that I just need to stock up a little bit, but there's also, you know, you can mine pretty well here for mining Monday. So that's another thing too. But let's see here. So I've got 5.9, and I've never been hit in my server. Now that doesn't mean it won't happen. You take that risk, I guess, that some rogue player's gonna go and hit you. But this one's got 6 million. That one's almost got 7 million. If I go to my Novas, for those who are curious, are tier 1. I have done I think the warp range research just to make sure I can get to deep space when I need to do that. And my Nova blueprints, I bought the one with faction credits, and then the other 2 were pretty much, I might have bought a few for the second one or the third one, but mostly through the G5 turn-ins in the Alliance store. So, but I wanted to show you, I try and keep a stock just in case we ever go to war. I try to think ahead and plan for that. If I go down to the 4-star, yep, I'm still over 100 million in the 4-star. And 5, you see I dipped a little bit below, so I'm just mining to get that back up. So, pretty good. And see, 22 hours, 18 hours, 17 hours. I think I can sit like a day, over a day, like day and a half maybe. Might be a day and 8 hours, day and a half. I'd have to check. Probably depends on a miner too. But I can sit there well over a night. And I think the goal is to get enough that I don't, because I can get 1 token a day. So really, as long as I'm getting enough to keep up on my refines, and this is not me doing one refine per day. This is me maxing my refines every single day for both G4 and G5. So something to keep in mind that can really make it so that during the day I don't bother mining. Besides putting these miners out once in a while, I just don't bother mining. There's ISO and other things that I try and keep up on, but even with that, this has been a huge time saver and made it so I don't have to keep thinking about, oh, I need to switch this miner, switch this miner, switch this miner. So really great addition to the game. Speaking of time savers, this is maybe a controversial one, and you'll have to decide what's in your best interest. But I find that with the NX-01, the new ship for the recent loop we're going through, or arc I should say, with the Enterprise, that I get a ton of these uncommon credits. And so it's easier for me to justify right now using some of them to get some of these efficiencies. The Voyager one can be good. For example, if I want to get the biotoxins, if I'm pulling this every day and the 400 is doable, then I can limit how much I have to turn in, or how much I need to go and use the Voyager juice for in order to get for a turn in here, which can save me that Voyager juice for finding hidden bases or finding bases for rogue players. It can also make it so that I can save my stuff for when I'm trying to get scout messages in one of the scout systems. If you haven't seen my video on that, it's a great way to get faction messages. So yeah, just kind of go through these. What's something else I like? Sometimes the Mantis or the Meridian. So I don't have to, if you don't want to mine as much ISO, right there. That's one option that you can take advantage of. So this can be controversial because we all want to max everything out. But if you're in that zone of, you know what, this game's too overwhelming, don't be afraid to spend a little bit of your uncommons here to get you that balance. And I know that goes against the grain a little bit, but you really will get a lot of uncommon credits when you get the NX01. So keep working towards that. Okay. Something else here that I think is fantastic, and I don't think it won't show in my store here, but in your Section 31, let's go back there. In the Section 31 store, you can spend on these Armada Quick Start Speedups. And I've also been getting these Section 21 transmitters so I can get extra, but you can really increase the number of quick starts you get. And for those who don't know, huge benefit that can really save you a lot of time. It's based upon the level of your building. There's other benefits as well there. Wave defense, hull health, stuff like that. But you start out with, let's see here, 9,000 Armada Speedups, and based upon the level of Armada you're doing or the type, the longer the timer, the more it takes. So, yeah, you can get quite a few of these. Let's see, there I am, 37, 18,000. And my next one goes up at level 40. So I think that's a great benefit. For example, when I'm doing my solo Armadas, the countdown speeds it up significantly, so I can just hop between solo Armadas, knock them out quickly, get done, get my loot, and I'm done for the day. Now you may say, oh, that's not that much time savings. Yeah, maybe it's not, but I also get to save on the buffs I'm using. So if I'm buffing with the Cerritos, the Defiant, whatever, I don't have to run multiple. I can really run like one and do multiple of them and be done. You can also coordinate with your alliance and knock out the 15-minute ones with the 15-minute timers in deep space quite a bit quicker as well. You just need to have enough strong ships that you don't have to wait on warp times, I guess, to get back to that. But significant time savings, huge benefit. I am a big fan of it. I think it's something I would definitely suggest. Last suggestion, and this is going to be a controversial one as well, is don't be afraid to let go. What do I mean by that? There's multiple loops that I've just stopped doing. One is Swarm. Now, Swarm Sunday knocks out, or Swarm, like the X-Borg, knocks out the dailies. But the Swarm Sunday has just low, rewards. I just don't do it. For some of you, you need the con shards, and I get that. But, I've gotten to the point where I said, you know what? That's just not worth doing anymore. As much as I am a completionist, I just let that go. Stella, same thing. I've gotten most of what I need out of that, and so I just stopped doing it. The only thing I really get, the benefit I get, is the medals that I can get from doing the Stella on Wednesdays, and I have been trying to do that, but if it's just too much for you, let it go. Another thing is the Amalgam. I haven't maxed Wharf, but I've pretty much gotten everything else out of the Amalgam store. So I do give up some things, like I haven't done these refits, but these projectiles, I've gotten all those. I've gotten the cloaking. And I've said to myself, it's just not worth my time. And you can say, yeah, but it only takes 5 minutes. But yeah, when you have 10 different things that take 5 minutes and you add in the warp times, well, do you maybe add an hour or two to your day because of all these things that you could let go that would give you some kind of sanity? So don't be afraid to let go, or don't be afraid to, like if Isogen for me was just too overwhelming, heck, I just mine and I just do one pull a day. Just do the single pull. it's got to come to a point that Scopely isn't going to give a solution. We've got to find a solution ourselves, or you'll get burnout and you will leave the game. And I enjoy the community. I enjoy this so much that, I'm going to make some tough decisions. Can we call them tough decisions to make the game more enjoyable? Bottom line, it's got to get to this place where it's still fun and you aren't so overwhelmed that you're going to quit the game, but keep having fun. And if that means letting things go or finding more efficient ways to do things, you probably need to say to yourself, which of these 10 loops or these 10 tasks are giving me the most benefit? Let these other ones go. If you have time, feel free to catch up on them. If not, just let them go. Okay? So those are my tips for the day. Tried to pick some really important ones that either people didn't know about or weren't using a lot, or just talk about some things that I think you should focus on and implement in your game to maintain or to get back to that sanity. I think we're still hopeful that Scopely will come out with some better ways for us to do some of these things and still feel like we're accomplishing as much as we possibly can to level up. But don't necessarily let the spenders in your alliance make you feel intentionally, probably not intentionally. I think they spend because they want to, and people feel like they need to try to keep up by doing every little thing. But when it comes down to it, just have fun. Don't let Scopely or anyone else demand or unintentionally influence you to try and keep up, and give up your personal life for a game. So it's fun. Let's get back to it. Let's find ways to be efficient and get back to the fun, shall we? Okay. Like I said, any comments, suggestions, please leave them in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And if we as a community can find more ways to be more efficient and to bring the fun back, then I'd love to hear from you. So anyways, thanks so much for your support, and we will see you next time. And next time probably will be a video for Arc launch. So it should be exciting to see what new plans Scopely has to throw at us. Anyways, we'll talk to you next time.